Hi, I just phoned up to get put through to Tracy McDermott's office, but Claire Hall Peachy's phone isn't working. It just keeps coming up with a response. It won't even take a message. Is there someone else you can put me through to get hold of Tracy?
Who's calling, please?
Simon Goldberg.
And what's this regarding, Simon?
Well, Tracy works in the Enforcement and Financial Crime Department.
That's right.
Yeah, it's regarding financial crime.
Good afternoon, Alison Newson speaking.
Sorry, that was Alison Newson?
Yes.
Oh, hi Alison, I'm sorry to trouble you there. I appreciate obviously it's getting towards the end of the day now, but am I right in saying you're in the Enforcement and Crime Department?
Yes, I am.
Oh, lovely, right. I wonder if I can take a moment of your time. Very simply, I'm Simon Goldberg, and I don't know whether that rings any bells, but at the beginning of this year, I sent an email over. I think it worked its way through the Freedom of Information Department and should have been passed up to yourselves, I'm guessing, or the board early January. And the reason I'm phoning is regarding a company called Santander.
Yeah.
Okay, and one or two practices which have come to light, which I've been researching but also asking questions about for 4 years. Okay, so I've done some extensive research into this. I'm a qualified mortgage advisor, I'm an ex-bank manager, I've had 20 years in the industry, I'm an ex-financial advisor, and I've worked with the Queen's Bank, Coots, and I've spent 5 years studying commercial instruments. That's money and all types of currency and so on and so forth. Now, what I'm concerned about is that it came to light, and I didn't even know this as a mortgage broker and a mortgage advisor, but it came to light that within the mortgage that I had with Santander, or that they'd sold me, there was a hidden power of attorney. Now, I know what they use it for. At least I know what they use it for initially.
Yeah.
And it's to create a promissory note, which is a security in my name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're aware of that, yeah?
Well, not that specific, but
right.
That sort of general, yeah.
Okay, so you're generally aware of that. Now, I know that with the Financial Ombudsman Service, I know they're all aware of it because in last June, after 3 years of asking various Santander members of staff the same question, and at that point in time it was just the question, is there a power of attorney, that I'm not aware of because I'd never seen the terms and conditions. I kept getting told, no, there's no power of attorney. So I was being lied to. I eventually, in November 2011, received a letter which was signed by a member of staff attaching the terms and conditions. And the member of staff had stated that they'd taken 3 weeks to investigate whether there was a power of attorney. They attached the terms and conditions, and in their letter they state there is no power of attorney, and they've signed it. Yet it took me 5 minutes to find the power of attorney under section 28 of their own terms and conditions, which were attached to the letter. So I've got evidence of fraud by false representation, but I've also got a letter, in fact I've got 2 letters now, stating categorically there is no power of attorney. Now this has gone over to the Ombudsman, and the Ombudsman Service in June last year, the young lady that I mentioned, that I reported everything with, she stated that the whole of the Ombudsman staff had, the week prior to me phoning and reporting this complaint, had been informed what happens when a mortgage is set up. So I know that the Financial Ombudsman Service staff are aware of the process. I'm aware of the process because I've studied it. It's taken me a long time to study it and find out what happens, but I know. Now, as far as I'm concerned, there's a few problems here. The first problem is compliance with Principle 7, treating customers fairly, which obliges Santander to be clear, fair and not misleading. Now, as a mortgage advisor and a qualified mortgage advisor, I've never told one of my customers that they're going to be providing a power of attorney, an irrevocable power of attorney, for a mortgage lender, Santander, who I used to sell products for. Not once have I told them that Santander are going to be able to create commercial instruments in their name. The second point is the true nature of the account and who owes who which currency. Again, never been able to advise a customer that because Santander representatives never told me that as a broker. And I was never taught it in my exam qualification. The third problem is that when I look at my specific instance, apart from the fact I've been lied to repeatedly for 4 years, I have a tranche number, and looking at Santander's website, I can see that they took the promissory note, which they attached to the mortgage deed, and they dropped it into a special purpose vehicle, which they've then issued a bond against, and they've sold tranches in that bond. The problem is, in order for that special purpose vehicle, which is a trust, to actually receive that instrument, it needed my intent, because trust law requires, at its foundation, the intent of the maker of the instrument. So if they're making it in my name, I am the maker, and if I don't know anything about it, how did I have an intention? So we therefore have some implications from a law point of view and from a legal point of view. A, there was no intent, which means that that special purpose vehicle is null and void. B, I have a letter stating there is no power of attorney, which means that the promissory note Santander have created, they've created without a power of attorney. I know they think they've got a power of attorney in the deed, but I've got it in writing that there is no power of attorney. So we have a false security, fraudulent security, which has been created, and that's been sold, or interests in that has been sold. That is fraud. Okay? We also have failings to comply with treating customers fairly, Principle 7, and I brought this to the attention of the FSA back in early January, and the FSA have not acted to stop Santander selling mortgage products. The other problem is that I've been filming interviews and chats with Santander members of staff. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Not one of them across the country, from their executive team, the collections team, their branch staff, no one is able to explain the term and condition regarding the power of attorney and what it's used for. Because obviously they don't want to explain what it's used for, because that kind of reveals something that people generally are not going to understand and not be privy to, which is the use of money, how money works, and that the bank doesn't actually lend any money, it merely gives you access to your own credit entry. Now that's, again, fraud by false representation, and I've got no problem with them giving you access to a credit entry, if you understand what I'm talking about, but they've just got to tell you. I mean, I know people haven't got much choice anyway, because the banking system is a cartel, but they should at least be open and honest about it. And then perhaps Tony Blair's desire and David Cameron's desire that people don't spend as much credit, perhaps people wouldn't spend as much credit if they knew that the bank wasn't really risking anything and that the risk was all of ours as people. But there's a few other concerns which extend from that. I've even been assaulted by a Santander member of staff for asking the question. Not massively, I didn't get punched in the face or anything, but I did get slapped on the arm for asking the question. And so my concern is, bearing in mind that you guys fined Santander last year for failing to exercise due care, skill and diligence into the sale of structured investment products, which I think are these SPVs, and you fined them 1.5 million, I'm just intrigued to understand why you guys as a regulator have not acted, but also I want to actually record this as a crime with your department, and I want this investigated and taken further forward. Now, I receive an awful lot of money from Santander, And so does the Financial Ombudsman Service. In fact, I've got a Freedom of Information request back from the Financial Ombudsman Service, and the salaries that the staff are earning there is ridiculous. Basic call handlers earn up to £52,000 per annum. I didn't earn that as a bank manager. Now, staff are being very well remunerated, and it's beginning to look, bearing in mind the Financial Ombudsman Service is funded by the banking industry, it's beginning to look very much like a closed shop which is there to perpetuate misleading information to customers. And I say customers, I don't mean customers which are the firms, the customers of the FOS, I mean consumers, people like me and you, right? And so I just want to understand whether or not the FSA are going to act. I appreciate you're splitting into two bodies shortly, aren't you, the FSA?
Yeah, I mean, just to clarify, I'm an associate investigator in the Enforcement and Financial Crimes Division. You came through to the director's office, but no one was at their desk, so I answered the phone.
Sure.
So I'm not going to be able to give you an answer to that.
So how do I report this and get this investigated?
Well, can I take your name and number?
You sure can. I've left my name and number with Alan Drainer, the Santander representative, and he did not. I spoke to Claire Hall-Peachy. She was very nice.
Oh yeah. Well, basically, I answered Claire's phone.
Sure. Yeah. So she left a message. She left a message with Alan Drainer to phone me 2 days ago. He's not done that.
Actually, Claire's back at her desk. Can I put you back through to her? That might make more sense.
Sure. As I say, I'm just anxious to get this investigated because this is not going to look good. And I appreciate, I've done a lot of work on this. I just want my mortgage sorted out. I say my mortgage. I want this fictitious loan sorted out. I want the fraud investigated. Okay, the structured products you've already penalised Santander for. We now have fraudulent structured products being sold onto the marketplace, and this is going to blow the whole thing sky open and open wide. And the last thing I want are for people over there that are alleged regulators to be dragged into this purely because they had pressure applied to them by financial institutions. And I know that some of these financial institutions are a bit naughty because look at HSBC handling drug money.
I'll tell you what, I'll just put you through to Claire.
Yeah, okay, Alison.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alison. This is dynamite. She admitted she knows.
Afternoon, Director. Claire speaking.
Oh, hiya, Claire. Sorry to trouble you. It's Simon Goldberg. We spoke the other day.
Oh, hello. I'll have to own up that I actually forgot to send the email over to Alan Drainer yesterday, and I've just done it now. It was on.
Oh, funny enough, I've just left a message on his answer machine as well, so he's going to get 2 messages. But that's
sincere
cool.
Apologies for that.
No, that's okay. I was just speaking to your colleague Alison. I appreciate, obviously, you might not know too much about the technicalities I was blurbing on about with Alison, but I'm looking to actually instigate an investigation against Santander for fraud.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know the best way of instigating that. I have a number of, well, let's put it this way. I have a whole host of film footage, recordings, documents to show that Santander staff are just unable to actually explain their mortgage products.
Okay, I'm sure Adi probably explained, but obviously we're not a general fraud prosecutor. But
you're the regulators.
Yes, but we don't prosecute fraud.
So you're the regulator. So just to get this straight, the FSA is the regulator of the financial services industry for regulated products, but they do not prosecute financial institutions for committing fraud. Do you know, just so you know, Claire, well, you heard it there, people, Alison Newsom in the Enforcement and Financial Crime Department at the FSA, right, the Enforcement and Financial Crime Department, she has confirmed, and you heard it, they don't take banks to court or financial companies to court for fraud. They don't prosecute. That is rather unbelievable. But anyway, Obviously I'm going to try and sort my problems out. And Claire Hall-Peachy, she's a very nice lady. We'll see whether Alan Drainer comes back. If he does, obviously I will record it if I can. But apart from that, I'm going to try and get this video up online now, because this is just too hot to handle. So this one is coming out now. Take care, big love.
I remember when I lost my